So welcome to Anything is Possible One Stroke at a Time. That is the official slogan for Zentangle, created by Maria Thomas and Rick Roberts. And today we will be making a Zentangle card that will fit into a legal size envelope. And the envelope also can be designed, the front and back. Don't forget the back flap. We'll be learning a few patterns and putting them together with the space in the middle for a greeting of your choice. So I will be using a Sharpie stylo marker, and I'm very heavy-handed, and this point can stand up to pressure. So it's a Sharpie stylo black marker. Also, the Pigma Micron pens are wonderful for drawing patterns. It's a finer line, it's a little bit more delicate, but it's a beautiful, beautiful marker to work with. Very continuous flow of ink. Now, I recommend the Staedtler Mars plastic white eraser. It will work for the rest of your life. It'll last for the rest of your life. We're going to start, this is a piece of cardstock, and we start with a dot in each corner, about 1/4 of an inch away from the corner. And these dots are going to be the corners for a simple frame. So once you have a dot in each corner, you're going to connect the dots with a loose line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I think the line has more character if you just freely draw. However, if you want to use a ruler, there's nothing wrong with using a ruler to connect your dots. In any case, you will end up with a nice frame for your design. Now, the first designs that we're going to do are going to be located in each of the 4 corners. We're going to start with our Sharpie stylo black marker. And if you want to use the Pigma Micron, feel free. Okay, so the first shape we're going to draw is kind of a teardrop shape, and take your time drawing. The point of the teardrop will be in the corner. Now we're going to add a petal, and it'll be a little bit higher than the first petal connected to it, and then a second petal connected to that one a little bit higher. Then on the other side, another petal, and another petal. So it should be more or less the same on both sides. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's not what Zentangle is about. Now you're going to draw a little cap on the one you just drew, and a little cap, curved line on that one, representing a petal that's behind it. Now you're going to draw 3 ovals, and that represents the back petals. Now, if it takes 4 ovals to fill up that space, that's fine too. And don't worry about your ovals being all the same size. Now we're going to make it a little bit fuller by adding another petal on either side. Everything ends up at that corner point. Now you're going to add 2 tinier teardrops at the base, at the corner. And just to give it a little bling, you're going to put a little dot, line and dot in each of these little petals. That's just to finish off this pattern, which is called in a flux. Okay, so we're going to do the pattern in a flux in each of the 4 corners. Again, you're going to start with a teardrop shape, adding 2 petals on either side. each petal a little bit higher than the last one. And then you're going to put a cap on the last petal drawn, just to represent a petal that's behind. And then you want to take your 3 ovals. Now it's real important to take your time with this and to let go of any judgment that comes up. It's not necessary to make each Ina flux exactly alike. It's a lot more interesting. Each one should have its own character. Some may be a little bigger, some are smaller. Just have fun with the pattern. So we're on number 3. So once you have this pattern in each of the corners, we can go on to our next pattern, which will be a new one. So the next one we're working on is the flower petal morphs. So this one starts out, we don't want it to be right in the center, so it's going to be a little bit off to the side. It starts out with an innocent little curved line. And then we're going to outline that with another curve. And now we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 curved lines. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now what we're going to do is turn those into petals with a curved line on the top. And that right back in. Curved line. All right, and then bring it right back in so it touches the center. Now we're going to add some small circles in between the petals, just to give it a little more bling, a little more interest. And now what we're going to do is put an outline around the entire pattern. Always turn your work so it's comfortable for you to draw. Okay, now there's one more detail that makes it come alive, and that's a center line that has a slight curve to it, 3 dots. And then a smaller line on either side. This just kind of establishes the center better. Center line, dot, dot, dot. Smaller line on this side, smaller line on this side. Slight curve. Center line, dot, dot, dot. Center line, dot, dot, dot. It's not necessary to have each petal be the same size, as long as they're in the ballpark. So there's the flower, petal morph. One more detail on petal morph that makes it a little more finished. If you have any white spaces below those small circles between the petals, just shade those in, color those in with black. It just makes your circles pop a little bit more. And I'd like to go back to our flower shapes. We need to add some small circles on the inside and Again, these circles don't have to all be the same size. You can make some bigger, some smaller. But that space inside of each of those flowers, the inner flux, should be filled in with small little circles. Don't have to be perfect. Okay, so we've done our petal morphs. We have our inner flux, and now we're going to move on to a pattern that was inspired by Innopod. So we started out with a curved line with a little teardrop at the top. Then we outlined that line, and now we're going to add some circles between these two lines. They're kind of like seeds peeking out from an organic form. Now we're going to add a curved line below the top, second curved line, and a third curved line. These don't have to be far apart. Now, this time we're going to add another line, but we're going to reverse the curve a little bit. And then on that line, we will add another curve and one more curve, and that side is done. The other side, start with a line that outlines the previous line, 2 lines, 3 lines curving the same direction. Now we're going to reverse the curve a little bit, and the next line branches off of that one, and the next one branches off of that one. That's your first Innopod inspiration done. Now, curved line. This one's going to be a little shorter, a little teardrop on the end. Now you're going to add a second line that comes from below that teardrop. And now add some seeds between these 2 lines. The circles can touch each other and the edges. And any spaces there inside you can color in with the black. Now we're adding our 3 lines. And now the next line, don't forget to stop at the other one. You don't want to draw through it. It's going to curve a little bit in the opposite direction. And done. On the other side, we're going to add curved lines. And remember, this one is a little bit smaller than the first one. There's our 3 lines. And now we're going to have another one that branches off of that one. And that's enough on that one. Now the last one is going to be the shortest one. Again, you start with a curved line with a teardrop at the end. And you're going to bring your line down. But this one's too small to have any seeds showing. So we're just going to add the curved lines that come from under the teardrop. And stop at the previous one we drew. And we're done with the Innopod inspiration. All right, we're going to flip our card around and start designing on the top of it. So this pattern, this tangle is called angelfish. And we start out with a curved line. With a little circle this time on the end. That's a short one. We're going to move over and draw one that's just a little bit bigger and a circle at the top. Third one is a little bit taller with the same circle at the top. And the fourth one is getting a little bit shorter. We'll put in one more with a circle at the top that's a little bit shorter. So you got kind of a fan shape. Now this is where it gets interesting on angelfish. You're going to start underneath the circle and have a curved line that comes down to the border. Now, start at the top of that circle and curve down to the bottom of the next circle. Now we're at the top of the circle, curve down to the bottom of the next circle. Good. Top of the circle, curve down to the bottom of the next circle. Same stroke, top of the circle, curve down to the bottom of the next one. And the last one, top of the circle, and curve right down to the border. And you're done with angelfish. It's a really cool pattern. Looks complicated, but it isn't. And we've got one more space that we need to fill, and we're going to do another petal morph. So start with your curved line, outline that with another curved line. Then you want 4 kind of curved lines, could be 5. And now each one of those lines will be ended with a curved line. So you're going from one line to the next with a nice round curve. Okay. Add your little bling between each of the petals. Nice little circle between each of the petals. And again, if you have any spaces below those circles, just fill them in with black. Now you're going to outline that whole tangle. Take your time. You do a better job if you're relaxed. Now we have the center line with the 3 dots, with a shorter line on either side of the center line. Center line, 3 dots, with a shorter line on either side. It just helps to enhance that center of petal morph a little bit. And you're done. Now we're ready for our final pattern. We're going to tie all these patterns together with one final pattern called diva dance. And we are going to start with a very loose, slightly curved line. Again, this pattern is called diva dance. Now we're going to outline that. Now we're going to add a little interest. We're just going to put a slightly curved line on the line we just drew, and we're going to color it in solid black. Now we're going to outline this resulting edge. And this is really what makes diva dance, I would say, is these small black spots that we're going to put in randomly in different places, different sizes. So we just outlined the line again, and now we're going to put in another one of those black spots. This one's in a different place. We're going to color it in solid. Now we outline. When we get to it, we outline that. Good. Now here comes another black spot, and we're going to outline. Your lines don't have to be too close together, but you don't want them too far apart either. And again, make sure that each black spot that you put in has its own shape and does not fall in the same place as a previous black spot. And now we're going to outline that. The black spots are interesting if you don't put a lot of them in. They're fun to do, but having 2 or 3 outlines before you put in another spot is a good idea. And again, check to see where your last spot was, that you're not putting this one in the same position. There we go. Now we still have a little bit of space left there, so we're going to start some lines and just stop them. Oh, looks like we can do one more outline. See how that line stops? Okay. And we're done with that space. Now here we go. The next area we want to fill in. This time we're going to take, the line's a little bit longer. Again, we're leaving that middle space open for a greeting later. So we've done a nice relaxed curved line. Now we're going to outline that line. And because this is a longer line, we can make some of our solid black spots a little bit longer. And you can be thinking about what you want to write inside inside that space that we're creating with Diva Dance. So if you've got a longer line, then you can put a few more black spots on than you would in a smaller area. Take your time when you're coloring in those black spots and get them nice and solid. And there we go. You notice that one of those black spots is not filled in solid. We actually filled it in with circles. So it just adds a little bit more interest. So you keep laying down these relaxed curved lines until you get to your border. Again, check and see where your last black spot was so that you're not putting them all in the same place. It's very common when you're first doing Diva Dance, without even realizing it, to put all your black spots, have them line up. I know that did happen with me. So it's a good idea to pay attention to where these spots are. And it's okay to leave a line hanging, touching the line. You don't have to outline your frame that you didn't pencil. At the end of this project, I just erased the line. Okay, next section. Again, keep your lines loose, slightly curved, and pay attention to that space in the center so that you're going to have enough space for whatever you're going to write in there. It might be a happy birthday card. It might be thinking of you, your favorite quote. Here's another opportunity to put in some small circles into the space rather than coloring it in solid black. Good. So, although we won't be showing the entire process of coloring in these patterns, basically you could color, you can use whatever colors you want. You could color in solid. I like using these fades where I go from a dark to a medium to a light color in each section. So here I'm using a blush pink, a lilac, and then a darker purple. And I just blend them into each other. So colors that are related to each other. I'm going to do all of the flux patterns with this pink and purple combination of colors. The petal morphs I'm going to do in a warm color scheme with red, orange, and yellow. Then the inipod variations, the ones that looks like gourds with the seeds, those are done with a series of greens, a light green, it's kind of a yellow green, a medium green, and a dark green. And I did each section, I flipped them. If I started in one section going from dark to light, the next section was light to dark. And that just makes the each section pop a little bit. And that's basically your Zentangle Botanical card. Put your own spin on it with what you're going to write in that center space, and have fun. So don't forget the envelope. Once you've finished your card with color, with whatever greeting you're going to put on it, and here's another idea for using letters. The book that you're seeing now is a great book for beginners who want a letter. And this book, the Zentangle Dingbats, both of those books are great resources for beginners. They have loads of ideas that will inspire you to be your best creative self. So that's my wish for you, to be your best creative self.